Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Hello there, this is Nat King Cole, wishing you all a happy and a Merry Christmas.
The joy of living is in the giving. So let's give lots of toys for tots.
Since 1947, the United States Marine Corps has been helping Santa fill his sleigh, making happier holidays for deserving children right in your community. Go to toysfortots.org and learn how you can make a difference.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Good morning to you one and all of you wonderful ecclesiastites and you beautiful liberty lovers all across the globe. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from the Bunker Eye Studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust here on this Thursday, October the 27th in the year of our Lord 2016 morning. And it is partly, what's the difference between partly cloudy and mostly sunny, or mostly sunny, partly sunny? I don't know the weather terminology differences. Seems to me that partly cloudy means mostly sunny, but that's not what it means. In any case, it's a cool morning here. I think the temperature got down into the 20s here in the south central New Hampshire. It is still approximately, it's less. I guess they're expecting rain today. It's going to be a cold rain because it is not even above freezing yet. 31 degrees as I look at the local weather channel. The call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. Again, that's 835-3226 and the 603. I've been trying to get away from transposing a letter for a number. Is the O and the 0. Got a lot to go over with you today. I know there's a lot that people want to talk about, a lot of things that people want me to talk about or comment on. Got 3 hours to do it in. We're going to try our best to get shove or cram as much as we possibly can into that short 3 hours. One of the things that you probably heard at the start this week was the Toys for Tots campaign. Every year the Marines do the Toys for Tots. Look, we've got illegals flooding our borders now down in Arizona and Texas especially. McAllen, Texas is being overrun. I've been down to Texas. I can say that now. Again, a beautiful part of the country. Here's one thing. Here's the thing. The United States has a unique culture called the American culture. I'm not saying it's better than the rest of the world. I'm not saying it's right and all the other cultures are wrong. We're just different. And we're different for a reason. We're different simply because we've brought together and taken the best aspects, and in some cases even the worst aspects, of various cultures from around the world. Because immigrants who came here assimilated. They melded their cultures and added to the U.S. culture, the American culture, creating this wonderful, unique, one-of-a-kind culture, if you will, that is easily recognizable around the world. Now, you, in return, can recognize certain other cultures from around the world. We understand that many cultures are rather unique, and some are not so unique. You got to admit that. Some just really aren't. They're very similar to their neighboring country. But some are very unique in their own right. Japanese culture is very unique. Now, I've never been to Japan, but we see the influence of the Japanese culture in the Western world. It is very unique. It is different from the Chinese culture. The Chinese culture, obviously, is very different from any culture in Western Europe. The French, some would say that the French and the Italian cultures are pretty similar. They might be. British, well, I'm not even sure. And this is not a slam on the Brits. I happen to know a lot of Britons and wonderful people, but some would say that the Brits, their culture is too plain. They really don't. They have a stodgy, stuffy culture, and to a degree that might be right. We always think of, the Brits always being very proper. It's hard to see, the proper Brit raise their voice and get angry, and they're always, the proper, well dressed, and they tend to be tall and thin, and have tea at certain times of the day. Britain has got this air of aristocracy about it that has never left it. When we think of monarchies, whenever we think of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, whenever we think of kings and queens and monarchies, we think of two countries. We think of England and France. And look, there was Italy and Spain and Portugal and in Germany. They all had kings. But when we talk about royalty, we always go back in time and think about the British and the French royalty. We don't think about Spanish or Moroccan or Italian or royalty of those, or German royalty or Bavarian royalty. We got the Bavarian castles and Mad King Ludwig and all that kind of stuff, but we think of the culture of the French and the British. So every country has its own culture. And when you go to those countries and you want to live, or you're just visiting, you want to immerse yourself in that particular country's culture. The problems come about when you have people who enter your country and do not want to assimilate to your culture. Then you're going to have what they call culture clashes. We see that happening in Europe. Look, Sweden, Finland, Norway, all those Nordic countries, they have a similar culture, but they have their own separate culture, which is very distinct and very different from the rest of Europe or Asia. And it is not the same culture that you find in the Middle East. And so when these refugees decide to go to one country or another, they're not blending or melding or assimilating. A lot of times they demand that the culture that they're invading change to their culture. We're getting the same thing happening here in the United States. But see, the difference is that usually in those other countries, in the European theater especially, they usually have one major group that is clashing with the dominant culture of that country. The United States is different. We have a couple of different major groups that are demanding that Americans change their culture to fit those who are arriving. That is going to tear this country apart. See, the reason why we get along so well with different groups and live next door to one another so easily and so peacefully is because we've all assimilated to one unique culture. And when you get people that want to upset that, now you have problems. And when you can't control the influx of those people who are demanding that the culture change to fit them, you run into problems. Now, this is not a backlash or a rant against immigration. Obviously, the United States was built on immigration. People coming from all over the world coming here to contribute to the American way of life, to make it better, to diversify it and make it better. But we have two groups of people that are coming here and not wanting to make things better. They want to recreate what they left behind. And they've gotten so brazen as to demand their so-called rights in our country. Now, let me be very clear. When you are an immigrant and you are not a legal citizen, or you're not here on a legal work visa, you're a guest in this country. You don't have rights that everybody else has. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't get to protest the United States from within the United States. You don't get to shut down our highways and byways and interrupt our commerce. You don't get to demand your day in court. You don't get to demand any of that stuff that is saved for the citizen. In other words, you don't get to demand that we change our culture to fit yours. You come to the United States, you are obligated to assimilate and fit into our culture. I don't care where you come from. I don't care if you're a Greek immigrant, if you're a Chinese immigrant, a Korean immigrant. I don't care if you're a Syrian immigrant, or if you're a Mexican immigrant, or a Colombian immigrant. You come to the United States because you want to. There's something wrong with where you are leaving. You don't get to come to this country and demand that we bend over backwards and recreate the culture that you left for whatever reason. That's not the way it works. Because quite frankly, if an American goes to any of your home countries, there's no way in hell you would allow them to change your culture to fit that American. We have a right to have our own culture, just as you have a right to have yours back in your home country. Personally, I happen to like the American culture. It's a blend of so many of them from around the world. That makes it unique. That makes it wonderful. That makes it absolutely, it's fantastic. But if you're crossing our border illegally, or you're coming here because we're of some sort of refugee status, I'm sorry, other than basic human rights, you don't have any other kind. And so when you act up, then you get sent home. No questions asked. If you're an illegal immigrant, if you're an illegal, you don't get to campaign for your candidate of choice because you don't have a candidate of choice. It's not for you to try to sway American citizens one way or the other. You're a guest in our country. You might be a welcome guest. You might be an unwelcome guest, but you're a guest nonetheless. Now, let me just bring it down to your own house. Do you change your household culture because of the guest that comes to stay? No, you don't. If you're a devout Christian, do you stop being devout Christian because maybe your guest isn't so devout? No, you don't. If you're a devout Muslim, do you stop being a devout Muslim because a guest comes to stay in your house who isn't a devout Muslim? No, you don't. Well, why do you think that you get the right to come into the American house as a guest and demand that your host change to your culture? It doesn't work. Never has, and it never will. There are some countries, if you want to call them that these days, who've been at war, their citizens have been at war with each other for centuries because of such a thing. We don't have, sure, we've had our Civil War because it was a clash of what? Two cultures. One culture believed that one man could own another man. And yes, the Civil War was not just about slavery. It's about a bunch of different things. But understand that a lot of those things, especially economic things, at the crux, the base of those differences between the North and South was slavery. One culture believed that you could own another human being. One culture believed that was abhorrent. You can't have multiple cultures occupy the same country without there being strife. History is replete with such strife spilling over into war. Hell, it's going on in Syria right now. It has never worked. It is your duty that when you go to a new country, that you assimilate into that country's culture. If you don't like that culture, don't stay. It's pretty simple. If you come to the USA and all of a sudden you don't like the way the USA is, well, too damn bad. Go home. Because there's 300 million people here already that happen to like the way things are. And a few thousand or even a few 100,000 don't have the right to change that. Sorry, you don't. And when you come here illegally, it is akin to an invasion, and you're telling us that you don't like the American culture and that you want to change it, and indeed you often try to change it, and whole towns have been inundated with you, and it is time for you to leave. By hook, by crook, by peace, or by violence, it is time for you to leave. There's only two ways that you repel an invasion. Through peace and negotiation, and you leave peacefully, or by violence through war. And what is happening on our southern border is nothing short of an invasion. And it needs to be repelled. It's affecting our culture. It's affecting our politics. People who have no right to interfere are interfering with the destiny of this country. They have no stake, no voice in this country, yet their voices are often being heard more often than the American citizen. At some point, something is going to snap. People have to protect their lives, their livelihoods, their families, their property, their businesses. And when you believe that you're under attack via invasion, what is the first thing you do? You set plans to repel. Americans have been far too accepting of this invasion for far too long, and I fear, because our government doesn't take it seriously, I fear there's going to be massive violence soon. Unless, of course, that violence could come either by the citizens themselves taking matters into their own hands or the proper people in the right government agencies actually coming about and doing their jobs and protecting the citizens of this country from such an invasion. In either case, we have so many people here already. They're not going to be going quietly or willingly, and that means violence. And that violence is going to be the direct responsibility of none other than the people on the left, i.e. Democrats, i.e. Hillary Clinton and her brood. You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
603-835-3226 is the number to call should you wish to join me here live here on the Rod Eccles Show. Speaking of Spanish, a little Latino vibe going on there for you in the bumper rotation. We keep adding. Thank you for sending stuff. Hey, folks, if you are a musical artist and you have Christmas stuff, send it to me. We're going to play it in the Christmas holiday season, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We did it last year. It was a huge success. It opens up to a new audience. So send it in if you got it, and we will play it. We'll be right back.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
It's time to bring the rain.
603-835-3226 is the number to call. Should you wish to join me here live here on the Rod Eccles Show. On this Thursday morning. Don't forget, folks, to follow yours truly on various social media out there. You know, things like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google+. All of it is, you can find me by just typing into the local search bar, Rod Eccles. And you'll find the Facebook pages at the Rod Eccles Show, Rod Eccles Speaker. I'm pretty easy to find. I don't hide. I don't make it difficult for people to find me on social media, except for Instagram. I do have a small Instagram account. I'll be adding more photos as time goes by over on Instagram, and it's under the acronym of Lightning Rod Photo over there on Instagram, and it really doesn't have anything. Well, suppose if I'm taking pictures of New England, that's kind of patriotic in and of itself. New England is very obviously is part of the original 13 colonies and part of the cradle of liberty. Massachusetts, believe it or not, that's quite interesting because you've got some of the most liberal locales in the country are located in the Northeast. You got Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you got New York City, and you've got Boston, Massachusetts. And those are pretty much the cradles of liberty for this country. I mean, when it comes right down to it, so much happened at the start of this country. So much happened in those three cities and their surrounding areas. It's ridiculous. But they've gone from being staunch independents and liberty lovers to being these socialist, communist, leftist, like you would not believe. I mean, the cradle of liberty, the state with the largest or most well-known parts of the Revolutionary War. The Bunker Hill and the Lexington and Concord and the like, in Boston Massacre, all that kind of stuff is now firmly in the hands of liberals who don't like freedom. I know some people find it ironic. I find it kind of sad and disgusting, actually. So, but there are people here that are fighting the good fight to try to win back that freedom and that liberty. California, Texas is going the way of California. I'm sorry to say this, Texas. I know there are a lot of Texans down there. They're fighting mad. They're pistol whipping mad down there about what's happening, but it's going the way of California, due mainly to all that illegal immigration that's happening. Southern California, it happened out there because California used to be staunchly Republican, and now it is so liberal Democrat that there was an article that I saw this morning. I didn't even think to bring it added to the paper pile, but basically it was talking about how Southern California, especially LA, that there are major districts in California where there are zero Republican candidates running against Democrats. There are none. That's how far left California has swung. But if it can swing one way, it can swing back in the other direction. It's like a pendulum. It has to. At some point, there's going to be repercussions, or is it repercussions? Tomato, tomato. There are going to be repercussions. And the Democrats are going to hopefully this is the year that finally, political leaders will hold Democrats accountable. The American public has tried to hold them accountable. 4 years ago we had the largest peacetime change of power in mankind's history. Some 1,300 to 1,500 seats across the country flipped from Democrat to Republican. And the Democrats have hardly gained any of those seats back. They may make some inroads this year, however, simply because these Republicans that were whisked into office at that time are finding themselves on the outs of the voter because they're standing against the candidate of their choice, who happens to be Donald Trump. Well, look, in my own state, it is very likely that it's not going to be a 50-50 split at the end of this election. We have two representatives in the House, and we have two senators, like every other state, and they're 50-50. One Democrat and one Republican in each of the houses. But it might be for the first time in a very long. I don't ever remember. I don't recall, since being in this state, that there has not been a Republican in the Senate from the state of New Hampshire. And Kelly Ayotte has a very good chance of losing to current Governor Maggie Hassan. And Hassan will be could be joining her colleague, former governor, New Hampshire governor, and now state senator Jean Shaheen in the Senate, leaving only Frank Ghent as the only conservative Republican representing a state that's supposed to be red. Good news is that we're more than likely, hopefully so, going to get back the state house, and return it to Republican hands with a new governor this year. It looks like it's going to be Chris Sununu. Well, I know many of you heard that name before, Sununu. His daddy is Sununu of the 70s and 80s. Hopefully that'll be the case. I know it's a family dynasty or dynasty, tomato, tomato. And there are a lot of people that are not happy about it. A lot of people wanted Frank Eldebloot. Funny sounding name, nice guy, smart guy. I've spoken to him personally, interviewed him, and I was backing Edelblut for governor, but he and Chris Sununu battled it out in the primary here, and Sununu came out on top. So therefore, looking at the Democratic candidate. Here's a guy that wants to double down on Obamacare. As bad as Obamacare is, he wants to try to make it permanent. Even if Obamacare goes away, he wants to try to make it permanent in some fashion here in this state. Are you kidding me? New Hampshireites, is that what I think that's what they call us, New Hampshireites. We don't like Obamacare. And that's just one of the many things that I have issues with him on. But be that as it may, Kelly Ayotte could lose the seat to Maggie Hassan, and she's got herself to blame, not because of what she has or hasn't done in the Senate, by what people now both sides of the political aisle view her as being weak. She is, she said she's for Trump, and she would be happy if her kids, her daughter, looked up to Trump, and Trump was a good role model to. Well, I'm not supporting Trump. I can't vote for Trump. I'm going to write in Mike. It's. I've tried to get her on the program. Frank Ghent has been on this program numerous times. I've tried to get Kelly Ayotte, but she won't come on. And I've had some people here in the state that have listened to the program, and another program that I was a co-host on called The Right Group on WLMW. We tried to get her on that program too, broadcasting out of Manchester. She would not come on. And I think a lot of people on the Republican side have taken note. And look. when I forget who she ran against in the primary 6 years ago, but I didn't vote for Kelly in the primary back then. I knew that it was going to be a mistake, but Republicans thought, well, hey, the Democrats have a female in Jean Shaheen. We need to have a female, and we're gonna do this and that and the other thing. And well, actually, she came on board before Shaheen was elected, I do believe. So, but I didn't think that she was that strong back then. She's done a decent job as far as senators are concerned for the state of New Hampshire. She's done a decent. She could have did a hell of a lot better. Not going to deny that. She could have did a hell of a lot better. But after seeing Maggie Hassan in action as governor of this state, I got to tell you, Ayotte is 100 times better than what we're going to get out of Maggie Hassan. But unfortunately, it looks like we may have Hassan because Republicans, they want to rally around, these middle of the road types of isn't it Ronald Reagan who said that we can't have these pale pastel differences, that they've got to be bold colored differences? Because that's what the American people want. They want difference. I've always said you can't out-liberal a liberal. If you're going to be a liberal, then be a Democratic liberal. Don't be a Republican liberal, because the people will see, if they're going to vote for a liberal, they're going to vote for the real thing. You can't out-liberal a liberal. It's funny to see liberals try to out-liberal each other. I mean, Bernie Sanders pulling Hillary Clinton farther and farther to the left during the primary season. But that's funny to watch. But a Republican can't out-liberal a liberal. And I have no idea why these stupid Republican elitists can't see that. They've become, Republicans were once anti-globalist. Now the Republican leadership they've dipped their toe into the globalist pond. They find the water for them to be fine and comfortable. And so they've jumped in. And look, if you want a true liberal globalist, why would you vote for one that's half-hearted versus the one that's full-throated? People are going to, if that's what they want, they're going to go for the real thing each and every time. They're not going to go for the half-ass or the half-hearted or the fake one. Plain and simple. So you can't out-liberal a liberal. You just can't. And to think that you're going to, we got to be more open and more friendly and broaden the tent, and we have to, be more liberal in our stances and our politics. No. You're going to lose almost every time if you do that. And Republicans have lost. Look what's happened in the past, 3 or so, since 2008. It's been happening longer than that, but let's just take since 2008. Republicans that have demonstrated a clear, bold color conservative difference in alternative to the Democrat have had very little trouble getting elected or reelected. The ones who are wavering, the ones who are being moderate, those are the ones that are having troubles. Those are the ones that always squeak by if they do win. And those are the ones that are probably going to get booted out of office this time around. But for some reason, hard-headed people, they just don't learn. I don't fully understand it. They just don't. I got so much here in the paper pile I need to get to here, folks. So it's just amazing to me that even after people this whole notion that they're walking away or turning their backs on Donald Trump it's frightening, but it is absolutely mind-boggling to me. I don't know how you walk around and you see all the support that Donald Trump is getting from the rank and file membership of the Republicans and independents. You know, you say you got to go for the independents. Donald Trump is getting the independents. You say you've got to broaden the tent and you've got to bring on, some of these Reagan Democrats. Donald Trump is getting the Reagan Democrats. Donald Trump is doing everything that you say that a Republican candidate needs to do. And yet you guys are turning your back on him. I am just flabbergasted by this whole thing. As hard as I try to logically understand this, I cannot wrap my logical brain around their thinking. I mean, it's one thing for the Republican Party to turn its back on, say, somebody like, say, David Duke, who is a total and complete, a-hole and racist. Democrats won't do that, however, but Republicans have done it. I understand that. He doesn't represent Republican conservative values. But Trump is doing everything that you have been saying for years that Republicans need to do. And you turn your back on him. Who does that in a party? Especially when the people have said that this is who they want to represent them. When your rank and file support him like you would not believe. And yet you still turn your back on it. I just don't understand. How do you have rallies that are standing room only and can't get in the door because there's no more room, and you turn your back on him? He doesn't represent the Republican Party and the Republican people. Well, obviously he does. I mean, like any other candidate, you can voice your differences and say, well, we don't exactly, the platform doesn't exactly agree with Donald on this issue, but, that's something that we're willing to work with him on, and we're fully backing him for president. That's not what they've done and said. They've said, well, we're not voting for Donald Trump, or we're not supporting Donald Trump, and name me a time when the Democratic Party did that to their candidate. I don't know of a time that they've done that. No, maybe there have been times when the Democratic Party wasn't fully enamored with the choice that the Democrat Party people chose, but they never turned their back on them. I don't know who these Republicans think that they're representing. They're obviously not representing the well wishes of the people that they supposedly represent. It's just, again, it's just mind-boggling, folks. It's hard to fathom, and I don't think as logical as I try to be, and I try to find the truth in everything, I just don't think I'm really. I mean, I know the causal reason behind it is Donald Trump is anti-establishment, and these Republicans that are in office right now are just total establishment. All they're thinking about is their own power, their own wealth, themselves, and not the American people. But they've done it to such a degree that they're willing to throw the candidate of the people's choice under the bus. I just can't I can't understand it. I don't get it. You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $19 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
Tossing in a little R&B there for you this Thursday morning. That's probably something that you'd want to play on a Friday evening. Speaking of Friday evenings, I was listening to... Anybody ever listen to John Tesh in the evening? Raise your hand. Of course, nobody else can see you through the radio, but I'm raising my hand. I listen to John Tesh on occasion. And last night, he brought, and this is part, everybody wonders about this program. Well, what the hell does he talk about all the time? Well, I say this is a political program. This is a current events program, and it's a pop culture program. All of that stuff, all three of those things are interwoven into American life that affect us and effect us on a daily basis. Last night, he mentioned something about 1 in 4 relationships now are started online. That's a lot. And he talked about the how to be successful at online date. If you want a second date, and one of the things that they did studies, I guess, sociologists. I don't know where they get all this money to do all these really crazy, strange studies, but evidently there've been a few studies done on this phenomena, on what it takes to be successful in online dating. And one, guys pay attention. If you're online dating and you're not being very successful, you may not be following these rules. One, always have a date in the middle of the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Mondays are too hectic. Nobody wants to go out on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday means that you're interested in learning more about them. 2, you've got to take the initiative. Don't let the woman take the initiative, because believe it or not, even in this age of powerful women, women like it when a guy takes charge. That's just the way it is. Sociologists in these liberal colleges studied this and came up with this. I'm not making this up. Don't expect a kiss at the end of the first date. Cheap first date as well. Don't get lavish. Dinner and a movie less than $50 is the best. 85% of successful relationships started online. The first date started by spending less than $50. And don't make it long. Keep it short. Keep the date fairly short. Those are just some of the things that you can do to be more successful on the dating circuit. So don't expect because if you go out on a weekend, it just signals partying that you're expecting something from them. The woman's walls are way up, and they don't like that. So be kind, date during the week, and spend less than $50. Something to be said for a cheap date.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Hello there, this is Nat King Cole, wishing you all a happy and a Merry Christmas.
The joy of living is in the giving. So let's give lots of toys for tots.
Since 1947, the United States Marine Corps has been helping Santa fill his sleigh, making happier holidays for deserving children right in your community. Go to toysfortots.org and learn how you can make a difference.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Just to clarify, I do not now, nor have I ever online dated. You're not going to find a profile of me on any online dating service. If you do, please let me know, because it's a fake ID. It's a fake profile. It isn't me. Let me just put that out there. I do not now, and never have, and do not ever plan on being a member, paid or free. And what is this Baidu or Baidu garbage? You know, lately one of my email accounts is being inundated with Baidu. I haven't looked into it. It looks like it's a dating site for tramps. I'm sorry, it does. I'm sorry. If you use it, fine for you, but definitely not for me. But I've tried to unsubscribe to it. I've even blocked it as spam. It must be owned by Google, because I've blocked it as spam, and I've tried to unsubscribe, and yet I keep getting notices. Oh, these women in your... None of those women are in my area, by the way. I mean, it's just... you got to be careful when you're doing the online dating stuff. So, just be... To me, I understand that 1 in 4 relationships today are started online, but to me it just seems to be fraught with too many perils. I don't have time for that. I really don't. Good morning, all of you wonderful ecclesiastites and liberty lovers all across the globe. Yes, it is I, the dateless one, coming to you live from my bunkerized studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die, and yes, you're free to date as well. The call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. 603-835-3226. I don't know, if you are doing online dating or you have done it successfully, good for you, bully for you. I know a couple that started. I think they met on Match.com. They ended up getting married, and they've had 2 children so far out of that, and they're going strong in gangbusters. 6 years later? So yeah, it works. It can work if you do it correctly. And John Tesh said that there are ways to do it correctly, so I just relay that information. But I'm not following that advice because I'm not doing online dating. If you want to, go right ahead. I'm not interested in that. Well, I have my own issues with online, my own thoughts on online dating, and it's just, I guess I haven't come to the 21st century in that aspect yet. And no, I don't deal well. I've never dealt with any of those matchmakers either. You've probably got one in your... It seems like every family's got a matchmaker. One of the relatives she's always a matchmaker. And she's got... And so... What was My Big Fat Greek Wedding? But wasn't there a matchmaker in that? And she had a Rolodex of singles to be able to match people up with. That stuff really exists, by the way. It really does. And I guess it's a proud sideline in Jewish households, in Jewish families. You feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I bet you that just about every American family out there, because this is old world kind of stuff. They've probably got some great aunt or grandparent or something that grandmother. That is the family matchmaker. And, utilize them, actually. You never know who they might know or put you in connection with. Could be worth your while to go the family route versus... The only problem with going the family route is everybody knows your business then. But it's often been very successful for a lot of people, the family route. I know, I don't want my family getting involved in my love life. This is, would you rather not have your family? Would you rather have your family involved in your love life or the entire world? Because that's what online dating does for you. Your privacy goes out the window with online dating. Just if you're okay with that, fine. I'm just surprised that there aren't any extraneous regulations coming down from the federal government on that kind of stuff. Was it Match.com that got in trouble not too long ago? Some sort of claims of false advertising or misleading advertising or something. I think it was one of the big ones. If it wasn't Match, it was, I don't know. What are the big ones? I know Match because those are the commercials I see all the time, right? It's with the psychologist or psychiatrist doctors. The old guy is, he created Match. There's a couple of them. Match is the one that comes to mind. I'm not advocating for Match, but if you use Match and you like it, and like I said, I know a couple who've been together 6 years, have 2 kids. They met on Match.com. Maybe we should do that for countries. Think about it. Another business idea for you. Start a country matching service. An online country. Can you date your country online? Your country of choice? Why not do that? We have this huge problem with illegals. Well, maybe if we just give illegals computers and access to the internet, we can match them with the country that really would fit them. Maybe that would cut down on a lot of people crossing the border illegally here into the U.S. of A. Maybe Sri Lanka is better for them, and they should try to find a way to get to Sri Lanka instead of the USA. Look, I'm only being half facetious here. Why not? We do everything else online. We air our dirty laundry on social media. We date online. Why not try to find the country that fits us best online, using a country dating service? Date your country before you go there. Yeah, just an idea, folks. Somebody out there is, if you're savvy with computers and can write programming and software and such, then that might be a great idea. You never know. You could probably make some real big bucks on that. Date your country before you move there. Speaking of moving there, we have from the Washington Examiner over 250,000 births in 2014 were that of illegal immigrant mommies, which was a staggering 7% of all U.S. births that year. 7% of our population born in 2014 were born to illegal moms. Moms in the United States gave birth to nearly 275,000 babies in 2014, enough birthright U.S. citizens to fill a city the size of Orlando, Florida, which is roughly about half the size of Boston, Massachusetts. This is according to analysis of data from the National Center for Health Statistics. The data showed, and this is the government. Isn't it funny how they can keep track of all of these stats about these people, about illegals, but they can't find them to deport them? Isn't that what you hear from people? Oh, how are you going to find 11 million people? You can't find them all and deport them. Well, obviously we can, because we can come up with these statistics and we know how many kids that they're having. So obviously we know where they are, and we can weed them out and find them. Now, the data show that newborns to illegals accounted for 7% of all births in 2014, according to the analysis from the Pew Research Center. And it's just, in 2014, about 275,000 babies were born to unauthorized immigrant parents. Why are we trying to soften the language? In 2014, about 275,000 babies were born to illegal immigrant mothers in the U.S., accounting for 7% of all U.S. births, and 32% of all U.S. births to foreign-born mothers. So, foreign-born moms coming into the United States, giving birth, 32% of them were illegal. A third of all foreign-born moms giving birth in the U.S. of A. were illegal. And we end up footing the bill for these kids, because now all of a sudden they have this birthright citizenship, of which our wonderful leaders in the Republican Party and the federal government do not want to touch this. Is there any other country on the face of the planet where you automatically become a citizen just because you're born there? You got to have some sort of connection, right? Your parent has got to be a citizen. At least one parent's got to be a citizen. Maybe there are other countries. Isn't that what Ted Cruz's problem was? His mom was American, his dad was Cuban, but he was born in Canada, so he was a Canadian citizen. Now, I don't know how the Canadian citizenship up there works. I do know that Canadians want to bring in a lot more immigrants, because there's only 33 million Canadians, and a good... What was the last statistic I saw? 12% of Canadians actually live in the USA. They don't live in Canada. 12% of Canadian citizens. That's a few million people living here in the USA, not living in Canada. Why? Canada's a nice country. I like Canada. It's nice and quiet. They seem to, nobody hates Canada. Do you realize there are some countries on the planet where nobody hates? It seems like nobody hates them. Nobody hates Canadians. Really? Have they ever done anything to really piss anybody else off? I don't think so. They're a very benign country. They mind their own business, and they're not really on the world stage. And there's only 33 million of them. But it's a beautiful country. It's a large country land-wise, landmass-wise. But and the people are warm and friendly, as cold as it gets up there. I can't believe how warm and friendly they are. But they just seem to be so nice that nobody hates them. I mean, even when they come here, you even though you might not agree with them, you still love them anyway. Michael J. Fox, William Shatner, Captain Kirk, the original Captain Kirk, both of them are Canadians. Everybody loves them. We say Michael J. Fox has gone off the rails on public policy and politics, but everybody still loves Michael J. Fox. William Shatner even makes fun of himself in his overacting. He plays off in that. He loves it. Everybody, some people say, well, William Shatner is just arrogant. But everybody loves William Shatner. Canadians just have this, I guess there's one Canadian that people could do without, and that's, I'm going to say it. The Biebs, Justin Biebs. There was a time when many Americans wanted to send the Biebs back to Canada. I'm sorry, but, and it's too bad. He was a cute kid when he was like 12 or whatever, and he was on YouTube. And, he had a decent voice. He still has a decent voice. He was a mediocre talent, but that's about it. I don't know how he's still around, but he just turned out to be a total dweeb. He's probably the only Canadian I know of that half of America would like to get rid of and send back to Canada. It seems like every other Canadian, we may disagree with them from time to time, but we love them so much we want them to stay. Bieber ended that, but Alanis Morissette's Canadian too, isn't she? I never really liked her either, but it's just so rare that you find a Canadian that you don't like. It's just so rare. You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
You know, Canada is also one of those countries where people just don't seem to want to get into illegally. Excuse me. The interesting thing about Canada, I guess they have on their west coast, British Columbia, the province there, has a growing influx of South Koreans. Now, people don't leave certain countries a lot because those countries have a lot of opportunity within them. South Korea, Japan. You don't find a lot of Japanese and Koreans in the West because those countries have become so westernized and there's a lot of opportunity there. But one of the things that Canada, I guess, has done is to try to attract South Koreans, for a number of different reasons, not just to bolster the population in Canada, but because there's a lot of stuff that a lot of things that South Koreans are educated in that Canada would like to have in their country, and they're kind of populating the west coast of Canada. And my understanding is because the Canadian west coast has a similar climate to that of South Korea, and South Korea does get snow, and it gets fairly cold. British Columbia, the West Coast it's kind of like the Seattle area. It gets a little. It's not like Alaska. In the southern part of that province. I've never been there, but this is what I understand. I would like to visit more of Canada at some. It seems like the Canadian West and the Canadian Rockies would be equivalent to the American Rockies. It's probably just I've seen pictures, just gorgeous over there. It would probably be a great place to visit. Hell, who knows? If everything goes to hell in a handbasket here, I might be forced to move to Canada, and I guess that might be where I would move to. Because it just seems like the East Coast. You get up to Labrador and Nova Scotia and parts of Quebec, and it's just too cold. That's kind of like living in Alaska, I guess, in those places. But it's amazing how close we are to places like Nova Scotia here in New England. We've got basically day trip tour boats that go over there daily during the warmer months here. But Canadians are just. I personally haven't met a Canadian I didn't like, and I've met a lot of Canadians. They're just hard to dislike, really. There's something about the Canadian culture that just makes them nearly impossible to hate. I think Justin Bieber's problem is that he moved to the United States and he moved to L.A. and he got inundated with what goes on in L.A. and that's probably what his mistake was. If his mom would have kept him, and I think he's from British Columbia too, isn't he? He's from the West Coast, right? Canadian West Coast. I don't know where he's from. I think that's where he hails from. There you go. He would just if you're Canadian, stay out of California. Stay out of Southern California. That way you won't get drenched in all the negativity that America has to offer, and people will still like you. Speaking of California, Wofford Heights, California. This is from the Washington Times. Angel Gilberto Garcia Avalos, yeah, you guessed it, has been deported 5 times in the past 4 years, yet each time he has managed to sneak from Mexico back into the USA, where he ended up in more mischief, driving without a license, attempted burglary, and felony weapons charges. In August, however, he graduated to full-fledged mayhem, sparking a fire in the Sequoia National Forest that has already cost the government over $61 million and left some of the country's most beautiful landscape scarred for years to come. You would think that the leftist environmentalist wackos would be so up in arms over this that they would be demanding that we do something about this illegal immigration population. No. They'll let Americans are not allowed to destroy the pristine landscape of America, but I guess they're fully okay with illegals destroying the pristine landscape of North America. $61 million. 5 times in 4 years.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered
suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
603. If you wish to call in, the number is 603-835-3226. You know, sometimes I just want to. I want the bumper music to play straight through. I've gotten a lot of comments, positive, on the bumper music. I'm in talks with some of the artists of some of my favorite bumper pieces to actually make a CD of bumper music. Would you buy that? Would you like a download, an electronic EP, electronic player album, whatever they call them today. I don't keep up with the acronyms and titles of this stuff. It took us the longest time. Remember when CDs first came out and they started taking over? Everybody still called it an LP because that was what we were used to. It was called, and now everybody still calls it a CD, even though, most places that are there any strictly music stores left? Remember Strawberries? Strawberries used to be one. I don't know if there's any in any of the malls near me anymore. You got Barnes and Noble that has a music section. You've got Books A Million that has a music section, and you have some of the there's another entertainment place that they still have video and they still have music, but they're full of other stuff as well now. It's just not music. Newberry Comics. I guess they got started by selling comics, but they were also a big music player back in the 90s and early 2000s, but obviously they sell more than just music. I think all the just plain music stores, they're independents, and you go in there, you can find the old used LPs and CDs and stuff like that. The times have changed for this stuff. Times have changed. It's not necessarily bad. Times have changed, and the music industry has fractured so much because you don't have to depend on getting this stuff from the major labels anymore. You go online and find the segments, the genres have evolved, not devolved, but evolved into subgenres. I mean, you can find if there's a music style that you think that you would like, you can go online and find plenty of musicians who will fulfill your musical desires. There's even such a thing now as pop classical. Yeah, where they take hit pop songs and they give it a classic music treatment. For the full orchestra, violins, And some of it sounds pretty cool. I've listened to it. Some of it sounds pretty cool. You know the song, but you're thinking, this is not the way I've heard this song before. But yeah, so there's even that. So even the classic, people who just love classical music, they now can move into the pop genre. I even heard, what was the name of it? It's a heavy metal song from Motley Crue. I forget the title of it, but they turned a Motley Crue song into a classical mix. And I'm not a Motley Crue fan, but I actually like that cover of the Motley Crue. I was kind of like, yeah, I know that. Wait, 80s? No. Who? Motley Crue? Yeah, when I heard it on the radio. Very, very interesting stuff. There's a station in the Boston area that plays that stuff. Pop classic, or is it classic pop or classical pop or something like that? I don't know. Is a genre. But yeah, you can even you can find just about anything. You're going to be able to find me out in California come middle of next month, November 12th. I will be out in Sacramento and Rancho Cordova at the Sacramento Marriott, addressing the CFRW Northern Division at their fall conference. That's Saturday, November 12th. Starting the festivities begin at 5 p.m. I am highly anticipating and looking forward to it. I understand it is going to be a great turnout. Of late, over the past year, since I've been on my speaking tour, every place that I have gone, they've all told me that I've drawn the biggest crowd that they've seen in a long time to those particular events. I mean, yeah, they're not huge events, but if you're normally used to seeing a couple of dozen people and 50 people show up, well, that's a big turnout for you, and that's a good thing. I'm glad I'm bringing people out, and drawing a crowd. And no, I am still not running for public office. I'm not into that. Sorry. To the dismay of a growing number of people, it would seem. I just my heart is not in that direction. It's just not. Sorry, I don't crave power of any kind other than growing a business and for myself and my family and my posterity. I don't have a desire to go to Washington D.C. and get mired in all that muck. Yeah. Look, I'm more than happy to choose between candidates who do want to do that. There are plenty of people who still want to do that, but unless, well, Rod, you've got to be the change if you don't like it. Well, I can be the change right here on this program. I don't need to be in D.C. Besides, it seems to me that D.C. seems to, more often than not, change the people that go there instead of the people that go there changing D.C. It's just the way and until we break up that monopoly, that power monopoly, and the only way we're going to do that, really, is if, because, look, we can see now that it's kind of hard to do that when you want to vote for somebody different. They tend to cheat in order to keep their power. So the only way you're going to do that, which is a hard boat to row here, is to get term limits on those people at various levels, including Congress. President's term limited, so why not Congress? And why not some of the bureaucrats as well? That's the only way you're going to get any real significant change. And, of course, those people are going to fight you tooth and nail to prevent that from happening. So, and the reason why, look, the main reason, I know FDR scared a lot of people in thinking, well, we can't have a president that gets elected 4, 5, 6 times because that could become a monarchy type of thing. But that isn't the real reason that they instituted a term limit on the presidency. They wanted their turn. Do you understand that? We've gotten to this notion now that it's a certain person's turn in the party to try to get into the White House. You got to wait your turn. Donald Trump didn't wait his turn, by the way. He didn't go through the whole process, and he didn't wait his turn. That's why McCain was the the nominee in 08. Not because he was the best possible candidate out of the field of candidates that were available at the time, because it was his turn. And in 12, it was Romney's turn. Okay, Mitt, you did your you were a good guy. You stepped aside for McCain, and so now it's your turn. That's basically how it runs. Democrat side too. It was supposed to be Hillary's turn in 08, but then somebody else came along and said, "Oh no, wait, well, this is even bigger history if we can get this black guy elected." Oh yeah, that'd be great. And don't worry, Hillary, as long as you're still alive and still kicking, in 2016 it'll be your turn. We'll pay you back, 2016, but we just got to get this guy in. So now it's her turn. So they do it on both sides. It's your turn to go for it, Hillary. 2008, it was your turn, but it wasn't your turn because Obama came along, and Obama didn't have anything to show for it as far as experience that you would normally think that these people would want in their candidate, but his skin color made it his turn. That's it. People don't like to hear that, but Barack Obama's skin color is what made it his turn over Hillary to go for the White House. And so now, because she was such a good girl, and she even went to work for him by accepting and becoming Secretary of State under him, that she was, she played along, and now she's being rewarded. Okay, Hillary, now it's your turn. And they literally swept away everybody. Democratic Party just swept away everybody else who wanted to run. The only person who tried to deny them that was Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders really isn't a Democrat. He was an independent for the longest time. So they just but they cheated in order to sweep him aside. And we know that they cheated because, the emails and that kind of stuff that have been hacked have come out and proven. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz was one of the leaderettes, and she lost her job because of it. Now, she should probably go to jail, but, that's not going to happen. But it's Hillary's turn now, and they made sure of it this time. Nobody else could come in. And they made sure that nobody else would get in, and those that did, they made sure, Bernie was supposed to go away early. He really was. He was supposed to go away early, but they couldn't control Bernie because he really wasn't a member of the Democratic Party. He was an independent, I think. But other than that, all the like Lincoln Chafee and who are the other a couple of the other Democrats, they didn't even get into double-digit support. They just swept them aside so fast and so brutally. It wasn't their turn. Plain and simple. And Trump and Cruz came along this time and upset the apple cart on the Republican side. It wasn't their turn. It was supposed to be Jeb Bush. This was Jeb Bush's turn. And if you want to know why the Republican establishment, I don't understand it, but this is the reason why. The reason why they cannot stand Donald Trump is because it was Jeb Bush's turn. They had handpicked Jeb Bush to be the nominee. And Trump basically had Bush booted out early on. It was Jeb's turn. Who the hell does Donald Trump think he is to come in and usurp somebody else's turn? Look, that's why they hate him so much. Really. That's the truth. I mean, you would think that they would want the party to grow and to be attracting more and more people, and they would want to win the White House at just about any legal cost. But no, they were concerned about keeping their power, keeping their grip on power, and whose turn it was. And it was Jeb. They had determined it was Jeb's turn. And Trump threw a huge wrench into that. Just saying. That's the reason. Yeah, I mean, Trump's an outsider as far as politics are concerned. Get it, got it. But, you think that they would embrace him because he's a true, Republican in that sense, money and all that kind of stuff, and a power broker because of his big business and things like that. But no, it wasn't his turn. He didn't ask for permission. He just ran, and he won. He wasn't supposed to win. He was supposed to drop out real early. He was supposed to be one of the first people to drop out. And yet he ends up dismissing 16 other candidates, including the one that the Republicans had handpicked, Jeb Bush, and it just wasn't Trump's turn. He didn't follow the rules. Speaking of not following the rules, did you hear about this? Of course, you're not going to get this through the lamestream media. But yesterday, evidently, the inbound upper level of the George Washington Bridge going into New York City was closed by an immigrants' rights protest group. Snarling traffic. It basically closed the inbound. Nobody could get by. And immigrants, how many times have I got to say, immigrants don't have rights? They don't have the same rights as citizens. They just don't. They have the same basic human rights, but they don't have the other rights that are granted and protected by the Constitution of citizens of this country. You, as an immigrant, you don't have the right to come into this country and disrupt citizens' lives. You just don't. But they snarl traffic on one of the region's most important crossings at the height of rush hour. Well, these are people they're honest, everyday citizens and legal immigrants that are trying to get to work to do a job, to earn a living, and to keep this country moving. And these people kept them from doing that. Now, delays at the bridge for traffic heading into New York City from New Jersey were up to 90 minutes. A traffic camera showed bumper-to-bumper traffic barely inching along. The protesters apparently chained themselves across the roadway to block traffic, unfurling large banners in an attempt to spread their message. One banner One banner read, "Resist, organized, act up." I love how they put NBC. It appeared to read. Well, no, it doesn't appear. It does read that way. I'm looking at the picture right now. It says, "Resist, organized, act up." There's no... You just got to love how these liberals try to report stuff, even when it's like that. They don't even want... Well, it appears that that the writing on the banner says to organize and act up. Bob, we can't confirm it, but we're looking at it, and it appears that's what it says. We're not sure because we don't speak English. I'm sorry. They don't have the right to do that. They're guests. You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
Have you heard what's going on out there in Colorado? How do they pronounce Colorado out in Colorado? Well, I mean, the people of out there, they pronounce things differently. Like Oregon or Oregon, they say Oregon. That's how you pronounce Oregon or Oregon. You pronounce it Oregon. Like in, like musical instrument organ. And, Ohio instead of Ohio. And instead of Missouri, it's Missouri. And in, New England has their funny accent too. We don't say, they don't pronounce it Boston, it's Boston. In Harvard Yard, in Massachusetts. And of course, down in the tri-state area, it's New York, not New York, New York. Accents all over the country, kind of funny. Interesting to listen to different people talk in their native accent. And we're all speaking English. Sometimes it's hard to understand. So it is, and sometimes some people speak awfully. If you're what's really weird about Maine is there's a Northeast. Northeast is supposed to be fast paced or that kind of thing, and you go up into Maine and the speech patterns slow down, and you can't get there from here type of thing, and they take the time when they're trying to tell you a story, and people from the tri-state just speed it up, man. You're taking 2 minutes to say something you could have said in 30 seconds. But that's wherever you go. And of course the South. Many places in the South have a slower pace than in the North. And California is Southern California, I guess, is just laid back. Nobody's but it seems like they're as laid back as they are. Everybody's so intense and in such a rush out in California. At least that's what I experienced when I was there. It's just it's such a dichotomy of things going on out in California. But in Colorado, do they pronounce it Colorado? I don't know. Colorado, Denver, the mountaintop city, an ongoing CBS 4 voter fraud investigation has uncovered a dozen cases where Coloradans are suspected of voting twice this year. This isn't previous. This is going on now. Previous CBS 4 investigation revealed ballots cast in the names of Coloradans who had been dead for months, sometimes years, before their votes were cast in their names. And now, in 6 of the new cases, voting records show the same people voting twice in Colorado elections. In another 6 cases, people are suspected of voting in Colorado and another state during the same election cycle this year. And yet Obama says there ain't no voter fraud going on. There's like, out of 1 billion votes, there's like 8 people. 8 cases. Where is he getting that number from, by the way? Where did he get that low number? And did he add up all the votes that have ever been cast? 1 billion. Has it been 1 billion votes? I don't know. But Lincoln Wilson, a registered Republican from Hale in northeast Colorado, is accused of voting in both Colorado and Kansas, as well as 4 Democrats, registered Democrats, are accused of voting in Colorado and other states at the same time. Well, notice how they call out the name of the Republican, but the other the Democrats don't get their names published. Isn't that interesting? Well, these. I guess if you're, we need to change the way we do our voting, man. I mean, what is wrong with voter ID again? Hey, look. If anything, you Democrats would probably not want a Republican to vote more than once, right? Voter ID is a way to do it.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Hello there, this is Nat King Cole, wishing you all a happy and a Merry Christmas.
The joy of living is in the giving. So let's give lots of toys for tots.
Since 1947, the United States Marine Corps has been helping Santa fill his sleigh, making happier holidays for deserving children right in your community. Go to toysfortots.org and learn how you can make a difference.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Welcome back. I am still your lovable host, the Rod of Truth, the Truth Hammer, L. Rod, coming to you live from the Bunker Eye studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. The phone number to call in and chime in this morning is 603-835-3226. Yes, indeed. As we continue in hour number 3 here on the fastest 3 hours in Internet talk radio. Absolutely. I can't believe we've got 2 hours done already. Just time flies when you're having fun and being informative. This from the paper pile. Anti-Trump violence from LifeZet.com. Is that Laura Ingram's new website thing? Is that LifeZet? Because it just seemed like LifeZet just appeared on the web over the last few months out of nowhere. And I know she's into doing a few new things, kind of like Michelle Malkin. Michelle Malkin just seems to start these things and then sell them off like you're not. She's Michelle Malkin is, you have this serial entrepreneur, the type of person who just starts one business right after the other and keeps starting business. They're happiest when they're starting they're in a startup mode and they sell them off. and usually make millions of dollars in the process. Well, Michelle Malkin does that for websites. Well, she started at least 3 and sold them off already. You know, Twitchy was one. Remember that? I think she sold Twitchy off. Hey, you know, it's okay if you can do it. But I know that Laura Ingraham also is starting to do that as well. She may have always done it. I don't know. But I think LifeZet is hers. I could be mistaken. I'm not sure. I don't know. But it just seems to have appeared out of nowhere. But anyway, LifeZet, because now it's just blowing up my news feed constantly with headlines and articles that they have. And just, you know, this time there was no such... I don't remember LifeZet being around, LifeZet.com being around last year. At least I didn't hear of it. Doesn't mean that it wasn't around. I just didn't come across in my paper pile news feed. But now it is a lot. And here's a piece from LifeZet.com. Anti-Trump violence sweeps the nation. Media is paying little attention to escalating attacks. Thousands and thousands of threats against Trump and Trump supporters. Oh, as early this week, I told you about the gay couple that was at an Ohio Trump rally. You know, they're pro-Second Amendment, pro-freedom, and, you know, they're not supposed to be conservative because they're gay. Oh, I mean, that's as bad as you know what? I think being a gay Republican is probably worse than being a black Republican. You know, because, you know, other blacks will call black Republicans names like, you know, Coon and Uncle Tom and that kind of thing. But you don't usually hear about violence being threatened against them. And this poor young, I mean, in their 20s, young gay couple at a Trump rally, supporting Donald Trump, not making fun, not being instigators, actually overtly being supporters of the Second Amendment. And they got threats. Well, don't go to any more gay clubs, or you're not going to get out alive, and all that kind of stuff. I got to say, I don't think I've experienced that being a black Republican. But I guess you better not be something of the protected Democratic class. Oh dear God! You know, they're going to come at you with knives and pitchforks. But they're the ones that are often... How many times have you heard about, you know, the violence at Trump rallies? These Trump people and supporters are so violent. Well, they're not the ones that are the violent ones. And again, you know, we've got the WikiLeaks dump that shows that the liberals have instigated this stuff on purpose. So while the mainstream media has been working day and night promoting Hillary Clinton's candidacy, it's largely ignored or downplayed violent attacks against supporters of Donald Trump. Oh, because, you know, look, Trump is inciting all of this violence. And Hillary Clinton doesn't incite anything. The difference is that people on the right, they respect law and they respect people. The left doesn't respect anything. They don't respect your differing opinion. They don't respect you as a person. They don't respect law and order. They don't respect anything. They don't respect culture. They don't respect individuality. They don't respect anything on the left. And if you are a supposed protected liberal class and you go off the reservation, oh, now they want to beat you up. They want to blow you up. They want to, you know, tamp you down, stomp you out, and even threaten to kill you and everyone that you know and hold dear. They want to destroy your property. Oh, look what they do in the riots. They flip over, you know, businesses that have nothing to do with whatever they're protesting get destroyed and ransacked. They have no respect for anyone or anything, least of all themselves. However, even though the media is downplaying these events, these assaults on Trump supporters appear to be growing increasingly common as Election Day approaches, and tensions intensify. Reports of Trump lawn signs and banners being stolen and defaced are everywhere on social media. Making matters worse, Undercover video evidence has emerged showing senior Democrat operatives like Robert Creamer and Scott Fovel acknowledging using dirty, likely illegal tricks against the Trump campaign. Their goal was to generate negative media coverage of Trump rallies by fomenting violence at them. No doubt there will be plenty more such assaults in the final 2 weeks as Americans begin heading to the polls, especially in early voting states. Look, I'm just telling you right now, if Trump pulls out a win, the left is going to go apeshit. They're going to go full-on moonbat. The problem is, if they do it in the wrong areas, somebody is going to get killed. Because these people on the right are not going to put up with this without defending themselves, rightfully so, for much longer. And this is going to be the direct fault of the Hillary Clinton campaign, all of her minions, and the overzealous, overwilling lamestream media. See, the media could help put an end to this by actually reporting the truth. But they think this is okay, actually, which is why they don't bring it to you. But there is going to, if Trump wins, there is going to be deadly violence. And, then the left will use that as a reason to try to take your guns. Because, you can't, you people who are protecting yourselves against these threats and these real threats to life and property. Oh, you don't, you call the cops. Oh, but hey, wait, the left hates the cops, remember? So you're not allowed to protect yourself, and you shouldn't call the people who they hate to come protect you, who they say should be the only ones allowed to protect you. You shouldn't protect yourself. You should call the cops. But, hey, we hate the cops. So bring the cops so we can kill the cops instead. That's their whole mantra. That is, you break it down to its simplest forms. That is what the left actually believes, and that is exactly how they're acting. They do not believe that you have the right to defend yourself, that you have to call the police. You have to run away and call the police. Now, they don't respect the police, so the police come to protect you, and they turn their violence on the police, saying, oh, the pigs, they need to die. Cops are doing their job. You call them, they come to protect you, and then now all the anger's focused on the cops because the cops are doing their job. And what's going to happen is more people are going to get shot by citizens and by police, and that's what the media is going to blow up. They're going to blow it up, and you're going to have people demanding that your guns be taken away and that the cops be, tamped down and some of these laws need to go away so the police don't have to enforce them. But they're going to, be forced to. They're going to be forcing the police to try to disarm. Don't doubt me on this. This is exactly what's going to happen if Trump wins. It's exactly what's going to happen. I excuse me. I hate to, to be a Debbie Downer on this, but that's what's going to happen. I'm not wanting it to happen. God, no. But I know these people, and this is what they're already doing and hinting at that they're going to do should Trump actually win. And by the way, this whole notion about Trump not acknowledging that he's going to accept the election, can you imagine if Trump actually wins? Do you think Hillary Clinton is going to concede willingly? Oh, she may say so overtly. But trust me, they are going to do everything they possibly can behind the scenes to disrupt and drag this out. Just like Al Gore. They're going to do everything, and then all you're going to hear after that is Donald Trump. See, the Republicans stole the election again. They stole it from Al Gore, and now they stole it from Hillary Clinton. When all evidence points to the probability that it's going to be the other way around. If Hillary wins, it'll be more likely than not that she and her minions stole it. Look, out in Colorado, was it 4-1? They caught 4 Democrats to 1 Republican? So a Republican votes twice, but 4 Democrats vote twice? It seems to me like that, it's not a wash. It looks like the Democrats are on top in the cheating department. Which is why Obama is so happy to say, well, hey, there's no cheating going on. It's why Democrats are in charge of all the polls. That's how you prevent cheating. Is have Democrats in charge. No, that's how you don't get caught. Is by having Democrats in control. If one wonderful lady from Tennessee caller, she's got it right. Be a poll watcher. Watch what the hell is going on when you're at the polls. Take pictures, video. If you see something, say something, and then show something. Show the proof. Because all this stuff is, believe it or not, video can be used as evidence in a court of law. Hearsay cannot, but video can and often is. We've seen a number of people actually get caught and charged and convicted based on a video. Yeah, I know sometimes, the video looks like it's very clear and people still get off. But more likely than not, people caught on tape doing a crime get convicted. They don't get away with it as easy. So pay attention. If you go to the polls, pay attention. Take pictures, take video, make sure the audio is clear, and just watch. Hey, like Homeland Security says, if you see something, say something. This is very important that you do this in polling places as well. You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
There's some polls out there, and look, and we've told you this before it was going to happen, that these the polls were going to start tightening up. Now, one of the interesting things is that if you actually, if you want the media to be more honest in their polling, is you have to start by actually taking their polls to heart. And this is how you do it. Now, they've had Hillary Clinton up on Donald Trump by as much as 15 points. Think about that. Now, if Trump wins, all we have to start touting is the greatest comeback in political history. Well, of course, they're going to say, no, that's not the case. Well, it is, because she was up 15 points and Trump won. How do you do that? So it must be it has to be that, well, the polls weren't all that accurate. Rod, you can't. Well, you were out there touting for the last 6 months how accurate your polls are, and you were touting them. Oh, Hillary's up 15 points. We know she wasn't up 15 points, but this is what you said. This is what your polls have said, so we're going to utilize this. So now we've got this whole thing that the polls are tightening up, which means Trump is gaining. Trump has they're giving Trump the momentum, by the way. They don't even realize it. They don't even realize that they're giving him momentum. Whether he actually has it or not is irrelevant. They are touting that he has it. And they don't even realize that that's what they're doing. I probably shouldn't say anything, because maybe they'll learn from they'll never learn from their mistakes. They always blame somebody else for their mistakes. If Hillary loses, she's gonna come out and say, well, the media just didn't get my message out. They didn't get my message out. I tried, and they wouldn't get my. Yeah, we got your message loud and clear, and so far, at least half the country is rejecting your message. Well, more than half the country, because you can't even get 50% support. Well, you could say the same thing about Donald Trump. True, you could say the same thing. But Donald Trump isn't out there, doesn't have the media in his pocket touting that he's up on Hillary by 15 points. And notice on these polls, she doesn't get 50%. So Donald Trump always has to be in the 30s. His support. Do you realize that? They fake the polls, and even by faking the polls, they can't get her above 50%. They can't get her to 50%. I think I've seen one poll where she's eclipsed the 50 mark. Even with them cheating on the polls, they still can't get her to 50%. Polls are tightening 2 weeks from the election. This is Newsmax. Republican Donald Trump is gaining ground in several battleground states with the election day only 13 days away, less than 2 weeks out. Thank God, actually. I know this is a program that has a lot to do based on politics, but I got to tell you, this election season has me zonkered. I'm going to need a vacation after this election. But I won't be able to take one because right after the election, I'll be jumping on a jet plane heading to California to continue the fight for the Constitution and freedom. I will not rest. I will not waver. I'm going to need another cruise, by the way. So if anybody wants to send me on a cruise after this, feel free. Of course, the IRS will probably say I'll owe taxes on it, but I'll gladly pay the taxes. Just to, Several new polls show Democrat Hillary Clinton is still ahead nationally, but not as strongly as she was in recent weeks. Now, isn't this interesting? She's still ahead nationally, but she's losing in various states. Must be that new math. You know what I'm saying? New math. Donald Trump is ahead, but Hillary's still ahead. Okay, Hillary's ahead nationally, but we don't elect nationally. We elect state by state. Folks got to realize that national polls really don't mean anything because we don't elect nationally. This isn't a popularity contest. We elect state by state through the Electoral College. That's what counts, not the overall number of votes. Rightfully so. Thankfully so. Really. More when we get back.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Welcome back. Have you taken a look at, have you visited at, have you been on at rodeccles.net? Well, you should go over there because the site is fully functional except for the store. It is quickly gaining acclaim as being a well-designed, very functional site. It's a base for all of you ecclesiastites. If you want to be an ecclesiastite, you got to start there. You should start there as we keep on adding more and more information and services over there. All of it, which is free. There is no membership. I know some of the big guys, they have their membership parts of their sites and stuff. No, everything over there is free to access. The store is coming soon. We're still working out the final details and all the products and services that will be available, so you can get some great stuff at great deals. You can get all the blogs and articles, stuff that I cover on the show, articles that blog postings that I write for the Rod Eccles Show, as well as for other publications out there, both on and offline. And it is growing day by day. Every day, more and more people sign on to. Well, they don't have to sign on to. They just head over to rodeccles.net. I'm really proud of that what we're doing over there in that realm. A bunch of new stuff is coming. We're adding new stuff constantly. And some great stuff is coming shortly. You can even see some video of me in action, giving keynote addresses at various places. We'll be adding more video to the site as time goes by. And a bunch of other stuff, adding some audio over there too. We're trying to gather some of the audio from previous interviews that I have done that were rather interesting. So some of that is already posted over there, audio, and some more of that will be added. So you should go over there on a daily basis and just check it out. I think it's a good site. I may be biased a little bit because it's got my name on it. But yeah, rodeccles.net. And it's called rodeccles.net for a reason, because it's not, if I wanted to be only about this program, it would be the rodecclesshow.com or something, but it's not. So you get a more well-rounded view of yours truly by that website. So in a recent Bloomberg poll in Florida shows Trump with a 2-point advantage all of a sudden in that crucial swing state. Other polls in the state, Clinton up 3 or 4 points, or the candidates are tied. I don't see this. You can't really go for these polls, but Real Clear Politics average of state polls show Clinton up just under 2 points in Florida, down from 4 points in October 21st. She also leads in battlegrounds of Pennsylvania by 4 points, North Carolina by 2, Nevada by 3, Arizona by 2. Trump leads in Ohio by 1 and Iowa by 4. And most of those polls are within the margin of error. And the margin of error is usually about 4 points. So it's a dead heat in a lot of these so-called battleground states. One thing to note, however, is that the Republicans have never won the presidency without carrying Ohio. So Trump has got to get Ohio and Pennsylvania and Florida, as well as the standard red states, in order to win this election. Because you don't need to carry California. I know, and you don't need to carry New York in order to win the presidency, and that's been proven in the past. But for whatever reason, you got to take Ohio. And more recently, you got to be able to take Florida. So Florida and Ohio are highly important, and Pennsylvania is a definite test. You people in Pennsylvania, I don't know why you'd vote for Hillary Clinton. She wants to put most of you out of work. In Kentucky, coal country, West Virginia, those places, Trump should be winning by a landslide in those particular states. And if you're looking at the Dakotas, the Texas, oil country, you're going to want Trump, not Clinton. If you want high-paying jobs with good, high wages, decent benefits, and I'm not one that's bends over backwards for benefits, but a lot of people do. They like the benefits. So if you want a good benefits package with a high-paying job, Clinton wants to get rid of that. So there's no way, just out of self-preservation, you shouldn't be voting for her and supporting her. But Republicans basically have never won the presidency without taking Ohio. Now, Trump is trending upward in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Nevada, while Clinton's numbers are improving in North Carolina and Arizona. And Arizona, most likely because of all the influx of illegal immigrants who are probably now on the voter rolls. Just saying. We see it. We see it happening before our eyes. Just saying. Well, that's the truth. And CNN says that Nevada and Florida are no longer leaning Clinton or Democratic. The CNN has moved Nevada and Florida back to their traditional toss-up status 1 week after moving both states from battleground category to leaning Clinton. Well, I guess their little move backfired on them, because they're no longer in that category of being Clinton at all. In fact, I'm going to predict that Trump is going to take Florida, simply because the way the left is reporting it and the momentum that he seems to have over there in all the early voting. I predict that he's going to take it. I know we'll have to wait until November 9th to find out, but I'm just reading all the polls and watching and paying attention to how the mainstream media is reporting all this stuff. And it would seem to me that they have some inside knowledge and information that they don't want to tell you about, but they're kind of hinting at. Well, they're not kind of. They are hinting at it. And the hint is that Florida is Trump country. And again, if you just basically pay attention to I know rallies don't elect people. Well, they do indirectly, but I know you don't count rally attendance in the vote. But it's hard to not notice the stark difference between the numbers of people attending Trump rallies, even with Mike Pence, and Clinton rallies, even with Tim Kaine. He was in Florida the other day and had 30 people at a Clinton rally. Pence, on the other hand, is still drawing hell of a lot more crowds than Kaine is. And Trump, well, we know, wherever Trump shows up. And they've got this whole notion that this election has tarnished the Trump brand. Are you kidding me? Do you want to know what's going to send the Trump brand over the top? Is having Donald Trump as president of the United States of America. Can you imagine staying at a property or buying a condo that is owned or built by the president of the United States? That is going to be the biggest brand, but some people think that's why he's doing it. Because it'll be a boost to his brand. Well, that'll probably happen. Well, that definitely will happen if he's elected. But I think basically what Trump is, one of the things that Trump has done is he's shaken some of the weaker properties that his name is branded. And I think he's happy to see them go. He's probably was looking for ways to get rid of some of them anyway. And the ones that stay, and the new ones that come on after the election is only going to increase his brand value and worth. Running for the presidency is probably going to be one of Donald's greatest business success stories in his entire life. And if he wins, that'll just put it over the top. Here's something from inews.co.uk. Again, you're not gonna probably hear this from the lamestream media. How the lamestream media is trying to tell everybody, well, it's over, she's won, she's the next president, it's done. Trump is cooked, stick a fork in him. But here's something from the Essential Daily Briefing section of iNews. It's not over yet. Donald Trump will win, says a top successful forecaster. Hillary Clinton's confidence could cost her the U.S. presidency, according to leading American political scientist who claims that Donald Trump is on course to win the U.S. election just 12 days from now. The warning comes amid concerns from the Clinton campaign team that voter turnout will yet prove critical, despite many polls suggesting that the Democratic candidate is ahead of her Republican rival. I don't know where they're getting this. We're saying that he's pulling ahead in Florida. The latest results from the poll, considered to have the most accurately predicted the results of the last three elections by IBD and TIPP, suggests that Ms. Clinton may have a lead of just 0.6% over Trump, with 41.8% backing the former Secretary of State and 41.2% for Mr. Trump. In Florida, a key state for signaling the winning candidate in previous election, Mr. Trump may be ahead of Clinton with 45% compared to 43% for her, according to a Bloomberg Politics poll released yesterday. Now, Professor Helmut Norpoth, Norpoth, from the Department of Political Science at Stony Brook University in New York, has correctly predicted the past 5 U.S. presidents. Using a statistical model based on previous election results, he is predicting that Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. Now, Professor Norpoth told iNews, my forecast says that he's going to win 52.5% of the two-party vote. That would give Hillary 47.5%. I attach something like 87% certainty that Trump is going to win. Well, that's good news for all you Trumpites out there, or Trumpsters. What are we calling you? Trumpsters? Trumpites? Trumpers? I don't know. Trump. All you Trumpsters out there are going to... But it just means that you've got to get out there and work even harder, because you know that this is the kind of... See, this is the equivalent of internal polling. And I'm telling you right now, internal polls are telling both campaigns that Clinton's in trouble. Which means that they're going to turn up the heat in all this cheating in some of these battleground states like Texas. They're trying to turn Texas into a battleground state. Florida, there's going to be some heavy cheating, attempted cheating in Florida. You're going to see some heavy attempted cheating in Ohio. Where you're not going to see, they'd be stupid to try to cheat in New York and California because those are in the bag for Hillary as it is. What's going to happen in California and New York is people are going to get caught, and it's going to bring to light even more corruption in the Clinton camp. But look for states, Arizona, Ohio, Pennsylvania, cheating in Pennsylvania. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And people nowadays, they are attuned to this, and you're going to catch more cheating in the act as it is happening on video. Just like people going into Texas voting booths and pressing one candidate and having it flip to another, especially when they're voting Trump and it flips to Clinton. People are noticing this, and they're getting rightfully upset. And just saying. The reason why this cheating goes on is because they know that they cannot win. They have a very difficult time winning when things are fair. Liberals know this. They've known it for decades, that they can't win in the arena of ideas. They have to. They always tell you to vote against the other candidate, the Republican. You got to vote against this candidate, that Republican, or this Republican. Never vote for my ideas. Never vote for, the Democratic ideas, because Democratic ideas are miserable failures. Obamacare, anyone? They're miserable failures. And so now you've got this guy who's been dead on the last 5 elections by using the data that is available in all these polls and looking at historical data and facts show that it appears to this guy that 87% likely that it's going to go from Donald Trump citizen to Donald Trump president. I just hope to God he's accurate this time too. I really do. I mean, as I have said so often, it isn't simply because I am such a Donald Trump fan. I'm not when it comes to politics, when it comes to running the country. I'm not a huge fan of him being president. But when it comes to the choices that we have, Trump, in my eyes, versus Clinton is the Ronald Reagan of our time. And I hope that after he's elected, that's what he turns out to be. I really do. A lot of people who support him have doubts about that, but they have no doubt that he'd make a far better president, not only for Americans, but for the rest of the world as well, than Hillary Clinton. I think most people are just hoping that Trump wins because they would love to see Clinton perp-walked. Both of them, actually. Well, will these two ever actually serve any jail time? Probably. They're old. 70s. They'll be in their 70s by the time anything really happens to them. I doubt it. Bill might not be. He's not looking too well of late. I'm not dissing on him in this particular manner, but he's not looking too well. And Hillary's health has been in question for quite some time. There's a story here in the paper pile where she needed help to climb from an aide rushed to her side to give her a campaign aide rushed to her side to give her aid to walk up one step. She's not doing well. People, it's leaked from inside the camp that talk about how, Hillary, she does an event and then she has to go take a nap. She has no energy. There are a number of different health concerns that whatever she has, they're serious in nature. It is serious in nature. I don't know if it's Parkinson's or if it's dementia or if it's dementia because she can't remember anything, or if it's some people have floated around cancer, inoperable cancer. We don't know. We do know that there's something not right with her. And I'm not talking her mental state, just her physical state. There's something not right with Hillary Clinton. And she's struggling. She really is struggling with her health. I don't know why people would want that in the White House. You'd be electing Tim Kaine ostensibly. Does anybody want Tim Kaine to be president? We'll be back and wrap up in just a sec. You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This holiday season, help Soldiers for Stockings improve the morale and welfare of members of our armed forces deployed overseas. Now through November 20th, there is so much work to be done, and you can help in many ways. Download the stocking pattern from stockingsforsoldiers.org and start sewing today. Volunteer to help decorate and assemble stockings. Donate Christmas candies, snacks, nuts, chips, drink mixes, DVDs, books, magazines, lip balm, toiletries, and other items needed to fill the stockings. Or help make packets of snowman soup, hot chocolate, to send along with the stockings. For more information, patterns, and a list of items needed, visit stockingsforsoldiers.org. This holiday season, help send our troops a touch of home. For many, it's all they will receive. All stockings need to be completed by November 20th. So get started today at stockingsforsoldiers.org. That's stockingsforsoldiers.org. Stockings for Soldiers, sending stockings filled with joy to our soldiers in harm's way for the 9th consecutive year.
Wendy's. By the way, for all you fast food lovers and all of you people out there who believe that they should be raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, even for burger flippers, Wendy's is now deploying those self-service kiosks in a number of Wendy's stores. Yes, indeed. Have it right here in the paper pile. Wendy's is rolling out their kiosk in order to save on some of the labor costs that is out there for the increased labor costs. Look, I told you before these places that have high labor costs and low profit margins, they're not going to take it on the chin. They're not going to take it on the chin. They're going to these people are going to be out of a job. Seriously, they're going to be out of a job. And they're already doing that. And also, you Arpaio watchers out there, it is being reported that Arpaio either has been or will be charged with federal contempt over his racial profiling. Now, the way I understand this whole thing about the racial profiling is that He's profiling people who look Latino because in the Arizona county that he's in, they have a huge influx and problem with illegal immigrants causing all kinds of crime. So I don't know. Are you going to profile your middle-aged white female when you're trying to stop illegal immigrants from committing crime? Well, of course not. You're going to target the people who are committing the crime. But that hasn't stopped the Obama administration from trying to come down hard on Sheriff Arpaio, often called America's sheriff. But in any event, we are coming to the close today of this wonderful program. Tomorrow it is Freedom Friday. So it is everything, opens up. The lines open up to just about anything you want to talk about. It could be science or anything. Doesn't have to be politics, doesn't have to be pop culture, doesn't have to be current events. Just about anything. All I ask is that you keep it clean, please. Until then, of course, have a wonderful Thursday afternoon. To see you all back here in 21 hours, I'm Rod Eccles. This has been The Rod Eccles Show. Thank you for listening. I'm out.